A total of 67,000 white individuals from South Africa have shown their interest in the proposal put forth by Trump to grant them the status of refugees. Additionally, Trump has announced his decision to revoke an executive order that was A total of 67,000 white individuals from South Africa have shown their interest in the proposal put forth by Trump to grant them the status of refugees. Additionally, Trump has announced his decision to revoke an executive order that was previously aimed at the law firm Paul Weiss, following the firm's agreement to cease its diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring practices. Furthermore, Trump's Environmental Protection Agency is taking steps to prevent states from issuing warnings regarding pesticides.
Is distributing a strategy for a total overhaul of foreign assistance initiatives. IBM's stock price drops below a significant threshold due to Accenture's caution about a decrease in U.S. government technology spending. Trump is set to issue an executive order intended to dismantle the Education Department, with plans to remove its supervision of student loans and special education.
Mariah Carey has emerged victorious in a copyright lawsuit concerning her iconic song All I Want for Christmas Is You, as a judge has decided to dismiss the case. Meanwhile, Radiohead seems to have hinted at their first tour in several years, following a ticket donation that has fueled speculation. Additionally, an Apple TV Plus documentary suggests that the legendary rock musician Jim Morrison might still be alive, possibly residing in Syracuse.
The European Central Bank's chief economist has stated that the introduction of a digital euro is necessary to compete with stablecoins and the influence of large non-European technology companies. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Federal Reserve has decided to maintain its current interest rates while reducing its growth forecast for 2025. It is also reported that former President Trump is exerting pressure on the Fed to lower rates in an effort to mitigate the negative impact of tariffs. Additionally, the Securities and Exchange Commission has announced that proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining does not fall under the jurisdiction of securities laws.
Ford and N+ have introduced electric bikes inspired by the Bronco and Mustang models. Additionally, LG is closing its NFT marketplace designed for televisions. Furthermore, a new food label titled Seed Oil Free Certified has been introduced.
Hegseth highlights an additional $580 million in defense spending reductions led by DOGE. The New York Times has reported that the Pentagon has arranged a briefing for Elon Musk regarding the possibility of a conflict with China. In contrast, Bloomberg has stated that Donald Trump has refuted the NYT's claim that Musk will be informed about the China war strategies. Following the NYT's report on the secretive briefing about China, Elon Musk has issued threats against those who leaked information to the Pentagon. Additionally, the Pentagon plans to reinstate the Navajo Code talkers on its website, with the White House attributing their previous removal to AI. Rebels supported by Rwanda have advanced in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is known for its abundant mineral resources. In a separate incident, a terrorist attack in western Niger resulted in the deaths of at least 44 civilians. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is taking steps to remove the head of domestic security due to a perceived lack of trust.
The United Kingdom is contemplating reducing its technology tax as a strategy to secure an exemption from the tariffs imposed by the United States. Meanwhile, the Irish economy is facing the potential impact of U.S. tariffs, which could result in a loss of over €18 billion in trade. Additionally, the United Arab Emirates has pledged to invest $1.4 trillion in the United States, as confirmed by the White House.
Finland has once more been named the happiest nation globally, while the United States has dropped to its lowest ranking ever. Meanwhile, Germany and the United Kingdom have issued travel advisories for the U.S. due to the country's growing practice of searching electronic devices at its borders. Additionally, President Trump plans to boost the production of essential minerals by utilizing wartime authorities. According to Edmunds, Tesla owners are exchanging their electric vehicles at unprecedented rates. Meanwhile, Trump proposes that individuals who vandalize Tesla vehicles be imprisoned in El Salvador. Additionally, a judge has prevented DOGE from obtaining Social Security data for millions of individuals.
Annual losses exceeding $1 billion. Netflix has announced a new competition series titled The Golden Ticket, inspired by Willy Wonka. Additionally, NVIDIA and Google DeepMind are collaborating to provide the technology for Disney's adorable robotic creations. Dolphins encircled the SpaceX capsule after it splashed down in the ocean, marking the return of NASA astronauts to Earth. Iguanas are believed to have traversed the Pacific Ocean millions of years ago, embarking on an extraordinary rafting journey. Kanzi, the bonobo genius renowned for his ability to comprehend English and play Minecraft, has passed away at the age of 44.
Johnson & Johnson is set to invest $55 billion in expanding its manufacturing operations within the United States. Meanwhile, AstraZeneca is committing $2.5 billion to investments in China as the pharmaceutical company aims to bounce back from recent scandals. For months prior, a report revealed that China had targeted AstraZeneca in a fraud investigation concerning a cancer treatment. Additionally, the World Health Organization is urging immediate action to tackle global disruptions in tuberculosis services, which are endangering the lives of millions.
The United States is set to investigate Chinese telecommunications companies that it believes may present security threats, while the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) is examining whether Huawei and other Chinese companies are attempting to bypass restrictions. Additionally, a French regulatory body has instructed Eutelsat to cease transmitting Russian channels associated with the sanctioned entity. Meanwhile, Comac is intensifying its competition with Boeing and Airbus by planning to increase the production capacity of its C919 aircraft.
Stimulation system, designed specifically for individuals suffering from Parkinson's disease. Additionally, research indicates that the bacterium F. prosnitzii may influence the relationship between consuming citrus fruits and experiencing depression. Furthermore, studies have revealed that individuals who use cannabis are at a significant
AI has revealed that more than 40% of the posts on Facebook are likely to have been created using artificial intelligence.
In the United States, lawmakers are preparing a new bill that could potentially alter Section 230, which currently holds the speaker accountable for harmful speech rather than the platform hosting it. Meanwhile, X is taking legal action against India in a new battle over content removal. Additionally, Italy is requiring Google to manipulate DNS under its stringent Piracy Shield law. Google has discovered 10,000 fraudulent listings on Google Maps and has initiated legal action against a suspected group of scammers responsible for these listings. Meanwhile, Spotify has taken steps to block pornography that manages to reach the top of its podcast rankings. Additionally, Perplexity AI is expressing interest in acquiring TikTok with the intention of making its algorithm open source. They claim that they would reconstruct TikTok's algorithm and incorporate community notes features as part of this acquisition.
In the United States, the Department of Homeland Security has decided to cancel the temporary protected status for a total of 532,000 individuals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. According to data from the United Nations International Organization for Migration, the year 2024 has been marked as the deadliest year on record for migrants, with at least 938 people losing their lives while traveling on migration routes across the globe. In Tunisia, the president has made the decision to dismiss the prime minister in the midst of ongoing economic challenges and a significant migration crisis.
Elon Musk has been issued a court summons in a lawsuit filed by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for allegedly not adequately disclosing his ownership stake in Twitter. Meanwhile, U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has advised viewers of Fox News to consider purchasing Tesla stock, which has sparked concerns about ethical implications. Additionally, Elon Musk has communicated with Tesla employees, advising them to retain their shares, and has also called on vandals to cease their destructive behavior. In other news, The United States has implemented a travel ban on the former president of Argentina due to allegations of corruption. FCC Commissioner Carr has issued a warning that he may obstruct mergers and acquisitions involving companies that have diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Boxing is set to be part of the sports lineup for the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. The new president of the International Olympic Committee is planning to initiate discussions regarding Russia's possible re-entry into the Olympics.
ESAR Aerospace has secured an NCAA permit for its launch and is now prepared for its inaugural test flight, marking the first orbital launch vehicle flight from continental Europe. There have been remarks that China is constructing new ships at an unprecedented rate to boost its car exports, with China's 8,600 car carrier setting a new record for construction speed. A year prior, China's electric vehicle manufacturers placed a record number of ship orders to facilitate car exports. Coca-Cola has introduced the world's first hydrogen-powered vending machine at the Osaka Kansai Expo.
The freezing of accounts linked to scams. Additionally, the head of National Grid has stated that Heathrow Airport might have remained operational despite the substation fire that occurred 3 days ago, leading to the airport's closure due to a power outage.
Google is introducing Gemini's AI video features that operate in real time. Apple is developing technology to transform watches into AI devices equipped with cameras. A significant number of AI researchers believe that the tech industry is investing billions in a futile endeavor.
The Financial Times discusses how Elon Musk's association with Donald Trump is creating challenges for Starlink's swift expansion worldwide. Additionally, the Pentagon has initiated an investigation, which includes polygraph tests, following Musk's recent visit. Meanwhile, defense officials have presented their vision for Trump's Golden Dome project, which incorporates lasers, space radars, and missile interceptors.
TX Agent, an AI agent designed for therapeutic reasoning across a wide range of tools, has outperformed both GPT-4o and DeepSeek in medical reasoning tasks. Meanwhile, comic book creators in the UK are collaborating as they prepare for an impending challenge from AI-generated content. Additionally, the DNA testing company 23andMe has filed for bankruptcy with the intention of selling itself, following the departure of its CEO after unsuccessful attempts to secure a sale.
OpenAI and Meta are exploring a partnership with India's Reliance to collaborate on artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, Tencent's Hunyuan T1 AI reasoning model is competing with DeepSeek in terms of both performance and cost. Additionally, a recent filing has disclosed that Meta has established revenue-sharing agreements with those who host the Llama AI model.
A South Korean court has
Trump, while Greenland officials express their anger over Trump's intention to send a delegation. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney asserts that Donald Trump will not break us as he announces a snap election. Additionally, a Sinaloa cartel smuggler at the U.S.-Canada border claims he will always manage to transport migrants into the United States.
A U.S. judge has ruled that China is responsible for its mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic and has imposed a significant penalty of $24 billion. In response, Missouri is taking steps to seize farmland and assets owned by China to enforce this unprecedented judgment. Meanwhile, the U.S. Space Force has reported that a Chinese spacecraft is engaging in dogfighting maneuvers while in orbit. Additionally, Western officials have accused Russia of orchestrating a series of sabotage activities throughout Europe.
Trump is proposing a requirement for immigrants to disclose their social media accounts when they apply for citizenship. Additionally, the IRS is close to an agreement with ICE to exchange the addresses of individuals suspected of being undocumented. The Wall Street Journal mentions that tax revenue might decrease by 10% due to the ongoing chaos at the IRS. Reuters also notes that thousands of agents have been reassigned to focus on Trump's
mass shootings result in a prolonged rise in alcohol sales within affected communities. The waist-to-hip ratio is a more accurate indicator of colorectal cancer risk compared to the body mass index. Hungary has prohibited Pride events and intends to employ facial recognition technology to identify participants.
France and Germany have introduced docs, a domestically developed option to Google Docs. Experts identify 6 nations as potential clients for Paragon's spyware. In France, the National Assembly decided to uphold the secrecy of encrypted messaging during a tense session, as the country dismissed a contentious proposal for an encryption backdoor.
After a long search, media investigators have discovered the complete original pilot episode of Family Guy. Sydney Sweeney is set to direct a thriller inspired by an English teacher's popular Reddit short story. Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal's Shakespearean play has surpassed the Broadway record previously held by Harry Potter and The Cursed Child. A report suggests that museums in the United States might see financial gains by providing free entry. The clearest images ever of a universe that is 380,000 years old have been released. Research indicates that large birds such as emus are capable of technical innovation.
In the United States, Kennedy commends the prohibition of cell phones in educational institutions, highlighting a combination of scientific evidence and misleading information. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is venturing into the restaurant industry as Tesla prepares for the grand opening of its all-night diner, theater, and charging station. In a departure from customary practices, Trump is pursuing corporate sponsorships for the yearly Easter egg roll event.
Kirk Hammett is set to release a solo album and has prepared 767 riffs for Metallica's upcoming album. Meanwhile, K-pop group NewJeans has announced a break due to the mental and emotional toll of a legal dispute. Additionally, a South Korean court has recently prevented NewJeans from pursuing independent activities. In the music industry, global recorded music revenues reached $29.6 billion in 2024, marking a 4.8% increase from the previous year, with 752 million users subscribing to paid music services.
The United States is demanding the complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear program. A China mainland researcher suggests that Beijing might consider a renewed civil war over Taiwan. According to Kabul, the U.S. has removed bounties on Sirajuddin Haqqani and several other high-ranking Taliban officials.
George Clooney has withdrawn his backing for President Biden after observing him closely, criticizing the Democratic Party for its lack of courage. Meanwhile, Russian President Putin presented a portrait of Donald Trump to the current U.S. president. Additionally, Speaker Mike Johnson has suggested the possibility of abolishing federal courts, as the Republican Party intensifies its criticism of judges.
Scientists in the United States have put forth a new theory that questions a long-standing 60-year-old principle related to electricity, based on their findings with what they refer to as strange metals. Additionally, a CO2 laser has been developed that allows for the detection of radioactive materials over extended distances. Furthermore, the Blaze star is anticipated to undergo an explosion after an 80-year period of anticipation.
The People's Liberation Army of China is employing DeepSeek AI for tasks that are not directly related to combat. Following the success of DeepSeek, there have been remarks about China inundating the global market with AI models. According to the CEO of Mistral, AI is expected to influence the GDP of every nation by a significant margin, reaching double digits. In an effort to draw in new audiences, New York's longest-running play is now providing AI-driven live translations. Trump has announced that any nation purchasing Venezuelan oil will be subjected to a 25% tariff. Additionally, it is reported that Trump is preparing to introduce a more limited package of tariffs in April compared to what was initially threatened, with Trump stating, "I may give a lot of countries breaks on reciprocal tariffs." Furthermore, the Trump administration has denied Mexico's request for water from the Colorado River, marking the first such rejection since 1944. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to travel to Greenland on Friday to join his wife, amidst accusations from the Danish Prime Minister that the U.S. is exerting unacceptable pressure, as J.D. Vance confirms his participation in the Greenland visit.
Greenland has experienced an increase of more than 1,600 kilometers in its coastline as glaciers continue to recede. A study has found that birds in the Galapagos Islands are displaying increased aggression, a behavior attributed to the noise from traffic, which has led to what is being described as road rage. Companies producing power semiconductors are reducing their workforce and cutting back on expenses as the growth in electric vehicles, EVs, slows down, and Toyota has postponed its project to build a battery plant in Japan due to this deceleration in EV development.
Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, revealed plans for a sequel to the beloved film Coco during a recent shareholder meeting. Meanwhile, Minecraft is set to introduce a significant graphical update in 2025, promising vibrant new visuals. Additionally, an original prop from the classic movie E.T. is scheduled to be auctioned at Sotheby's, with an estimated value of nearly $1 million. In other news, a fully operational Apple I computer fetched $375,000 at a recent auction.
In the United States, the Department of Defense has decided to terminate an HRIT project due to a significant budget overrun of 780% and numerous delays spanning several years. Additionally, it has been reported that a small Chinese drone has successfully reached the deepest point on Earth, surpassing the capabilities of the U.S. Navy. Furthermore, NASA has removed the reference to the first person of color, from the Artemis website.
Hamdan Bulal, the co-director of No Other Land, has been released, according to Yuval Abraham. The Oscar-winning Palestinian filmmaker was recently assaulted by Israeli settlers and subsequently detained by the military. His colleagues claim the attack was a revenge for his film about the West Bank. Additionally, the University of Hong Kong has decided to cancel a talk by the head of the Anti-Defamation League following a petition. Meanwhile, U.S. embassies across Europe have issued warnings to visa applicants, advising them against promoting Hamas.
The Wall Street Journal has commented on this development, noting that the U.S. has agreed to assist Russia in increasing its exports during these negotiations. Meanwhile, it has been reported that the U.S. will not conduct live-fire exercises with the Typhoon missile system stationed in the Philippines, which had previously caused tension with China. Additionally, the Philippines is preparing to host a second Typhoon missile system, indicating the fulfillment of a defense commitment made by former President Trump. Furthermore, China has denied allegations that former Philippine President Duterte is seeking asylum.
BMW anticipates a significant financial impact, with a projected €1 billion reduction in earnings due to rising tariffs. Meanwhile, Hyundai's steel plant is at the forefront of a substantial $21 billion investment in the United States, even as the threat of tariffs remains. In the electric vehicle sector, Chinese company BYD has surpassed Tesla, achieving annual sales exceeding $100 billion.
SAP, a company specializing in software development, has taken over the position of being the largest company in Europe, surpassing Novo Nordisk. Meanwhile, Samsung is planning to introduce smart glasses equipped with an XR headset by the year 2025. Additionally, Bayer has been mandated to pay a sum of $2.1 billion in connection with its most recent legal defeat, involving the Roundup weed killer.
Lizzo is set to portray the legendary singer Rosetta Tharpe in an upcoming biopic produced by Amazon MGM Studios. Additionally, Jessica Chastain and Adam Driver are confirmed to star in the Apple series titled The Dealer. Furthermore, Mel Gibson's highly anticipated sequel to The Passion of the Christ is scheduled to begin filming summer of 2025 at the renowned Cinecittà Studios in Rome.
Women experiencing premenstrual syndrome seem to alleviate their symptoms through the use of placebos. Researchers caution that chewing gum can release microplastics into the oral cavity. During intense endurance exercise, your brain may begin to consume itself, according to scientific findings.
Agibot, a Chinese company specializing in humanoid robots, aims to produce the same number of units as Elon Musk's Optimus robot this year. Meanwhile, Alibaba has collaborated with BMW to create artificial intelligence technology specifically for automobiles in the Chinese market. Additionally, 1X, a company supported by OpenAI, is initiating in-home testing of its humanoid robot model Neo Gamma.
A Canadian national suspected of participating in the snowflake attacks has agreed to be extradited to the United States. Additionally, a significant vulnerability in Next.js has been discovered, enabling attackers to circumvent middleware authorization checks. In Malaysia, hackers have requested a ransom of $10 million to resolve a cyber attack on Malaysia Airports Holdings, but Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has firmly stated that there will be no payment of this amount.
A Malaysian minister's assertion that the YOLO attitude is contributing to the increase in HIV cases has been met with mockery. The deputy health minister recently stated that this mindset could be responsible for the rise in HIV infections. In a separate incident, a motorcyclist who vanished into a massive sinkhole in Seoul was discovered dead following an extensive overnight search. Additionally, China has implemented a ban on mandatory facial recognition and its application in private areas such as hotel rooms. The White House has indicated that the country's gold reserves might be utilized to acquire Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Moody's has issued a warning regarding the worsening situation of the United States public finances. In Florida, there is a discussion underway about potentially relaxing certain child labor regulations to address job vacancies left by undocumented immigrants. Additionally, in the United States, over 300 wealthy individuals have urged Congress to oppose granting tax breaks to the affluent.
Elon Musk and the Doge team are scheduled to have a conversation with Fox News' Brett Baier. Meanwhile, the University of Southern California has announced a hiring freeze and is implementing austerity measures due to financial difficulties and ongoing investigations related to Donald Trump. Additionally, law firms are declining to represent individuals opposing Trump following his recent attacks.
In 2024, the United States saw the highest number of new individuals with multi-million-dollar wealth. It has been reported that wealthy individuals in America are rushing to establish bank accounts in Switzerland due to concerns related to Donald Trump. In Europe, retail investors are engaging in a battle with hedge funds, reminiscent of the meme stock frenzy.
Of company shares valued at $1 million to provide stock options to certain actors, whose digital avatars have gained popularity among customers, or have been prominently featured in marketing initiatives. Additionally, Furious AI, an AI chip startup, has declined Meta's $800 million acquisition offer. Furthermore, developers working on open-source projects report that AI web crawlers are significantly dominating internet traffic, leading to the necessity of blocking entire countries to manage the influx.
Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for shooting a man who is accused of molesting a family member. Additionally, World Athletics plans to implement mandatory sex testing for female athletes in competitions. Furthermore, Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini have been cleared of charges in the FIFA corruption case for a second time.
According to Reuters, Apple is expected to avoid a fine from the European Union regarding browser options, as indicated by sources. Additionally, Reuters mentions that India has issued a tax demand of $601 million to Samsung for its telecom imports. Meanwhile, the New York Post reports that the European Union is planning to impose a fine of at least $1 billion on Meta for violating stringent antitrust regulations, according to sources.
A cryptocurrency bank supported by Donald Trump has entered the competitive stablecoin market by launching a new token that is pegged to the US dollar. Meanwhile, eToro has announced its intention to go public, revealing that its commission revenues increased by 46% over the past year. Additionally, GameStop plans to allocate a portion of its corporate funds to invest in Bitcoin, mirroring a strategy previously adopted by MicroStrategy.
Trump directed the FBI to release classified documents related to the Crossfire hurricane investigation into Russia. 5-year Obama about an allegation that Hillary Clinton fabricated the Trump-Russia scandal, as stated by the spy chief. Binance has temporarily taken an employee off duty due to suspicions that they illegally gained from insider knowledge. Ripple Labs has announced a resolution with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, agreeing to pay a decreased fine of $50 million. Trump Media has partnered with Crypto.com to introduce exchange-traded funds on the Truth.fi platform.
Sam Altman suggests that perhaps we require fewer software engineers, as becoming proficient with AI tools is now akin to the old adage of learning to code. Additionally, AlexNet, the pioneering AI model, has been made available in its source code form, allowing anyone to download it. Meanwhile, Zhou Tsai from Alibaba has cautioned about a potential bubble forming in the expansion of AI data centers.
Trump issues executive order mandating proof of citizenship for voting in federal elections. India faces allegations of interference in Canada's Conservative Party leadership contest. In the United States, the number of F-1 visa rejections reaches a decade-long peak, with the country denying 41% of applications from international students.
Families of Israeli hostages have filed a lawsuit against Mahmoud Khalil and organizers at Columbia University, accusing them of acting as a propaganda arm for Hamas in New York City. Federal authorities have also charged Khalil with concealing his connections to UNRWA on his green card application, adding to the allegations against this anti-Israel activist. The lawsuit further claims that Columbia's pro-Hamas groups were aware of the October 7 atrocities in advance. Meanwhile, in Gaza, the streets are echoing with Hamas-out slogans as Palestinians express their frustration with the ongoing war. Additionally, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has announced plans to reduce the United Nations aid presence in Gaza following the breakdown of the ceasefire.
States express concerns about the long-term financial implications of Musk's broadband satellites. A report indicates that almost half of Canadians have completely eliminated cable from their homes. The shift towards YouTube as the leading TV distributor in February is attributed to older viewers.
The Nintendo Switch 2 is expected to debut in June, with a strong focus on exclusive games developed by Nintendo. Following a series of distributed denial-of-service (DDoS) attacks, Blizzard has decided to reverse the deaths of players in hardcore WoW for the first occasion. Assassin's Creed Shadows has reached 2 million players, indicating it is on course to become the most successful installment in the series to date.
Researchers have discovered enormous organic molecules on Mars that date back to the time when life first emerged on Earth. Additionally, a SpaceX launch occurring over 4,000 miles away has been attributed to the appearance of a glowing spiral in the skies of the United Kingdom. Furthermore, China's space station is set to conduct research on the regeneration capabilities of planarians.
Louis DeJoy, the head of the USPS, has stepped down following a reported disagreement regarding DOGE's access to the mail system. Meanwhile, Reuters has disclosed that a secretive Chinese network is attempting to recruit former federal employees, as indicated by research findings. Additionally, DHS Secretary Noem has announced plans to eliminate FEMA, a target that has been on former President Trump's agenda for some time.
In the City of London, Transport for London (TfL) has implemented a prohibition on the majority of electric bikes being brought onto trains due to worries about the potential for batteries to catch fire. Meanwhile, Tesla has made the decision to remove the term full self-driving (FSD) from the name of its driver assistance technology in the Chinese market. Additionally, former U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a warning to American automobile manufacturers, advising them against increasing their prices as a reaction to the imposition of tariffs. The Wall Street Journal has weighed in on this matter, suggesting that the implementation of tariffs is unlikely to lead to a significant surge in manufacturing activities within the United States.
A recent study has revealed that the dust found on Mars could potentially present health risks to humans who are planning to explore the red planet. In other news, NASA's Webb Space Telescope has successfully captured images of Neptune's auroras for the very first time. Additionally, a significant honor has been bestowed upon a Japanese mathematician who has been awarded the Abel Prize for his groundbreaking work in symmetry theory, which has provided a versatile mathematical framework for understanding the natural world.
Research indicates that individuals diagnosed with colon cancer face an increased likelihood of dying from heart-related causes. The FDA has granted approval for the first new category of oral antibiotics designed to treat uncomplicated urinary tract infections in almost 3 decades. Studies show that infants are capable of forming temporary memories.
China is setting its sights on having the Xinghuo, the globe's inaugural fusion fission power plant, operational by the year 2030. Additionally, a groundbreaking development in nuclear technology has introduced a new radiocarbon-powered battery capable of functioning for thousands of years without the need for recharging. Furthermore, a significant achievement in quantum computing has been reached with the creation of a 56-qubit computer that can generate truly random numbers.
A tourist submarine has tragically sunk off the coast of Egypt, resulting in the deaths of 6 individuals and leaving 9 others injured, according to official reports. In Bolivia, a state of emergency has been declared following devastating floods that have claimed the lives of more than 50 people. Meanwhile, Myanmar has been hit by a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake, with the impact of the tremors being felt in neighboring Thailand.
Trump has decided to reinstate a program that monitors large-scale child abductions in Ukraine. Meanwhile, North Korea has reportedly dispatched additional thousands of troops and weapons to Russia, according to Seoul. Bloomberg provides commentary as the United States aims to manage investments in Ukraine, potentially sidelining European involvement. This comes as Putin suggests placing Ukraine under temporary United Nations control to facilitate elections, while Trump expresses interest in obtaining more of Kiev's rare minerals. However, the United States has declined Putin's proposal to remove Zelensky from power.
Address antitrust concerns. Meanwhile, Italy is seeking payment from Meta, X, and LinkedIn in a significant tax case. In other news, TikTok Shop is expanding its presence in Europe, though its future in the US remains uncertain. Pew Research has reported that fewer Americans now support banning TikTok, with fewer viewing it as a national security threat compared to spring 2023.
The authoritarian leader of Belarus has been sworn in for his 7th term, warning his critics that they have no future. Meanwhile, the chief of the Sudan army, al-Burhan, declared Khartoum is free following the capture of the airport. Additionally, Donald Trump has been discussing the establishment of a compensation fund for those involved in the January 6 riots.
Trump imposes a 25% tariff on imported automobiles, anticipating a $100 billion increase in tax revenues. Japan requests an exemption from these U.S. auto tariffs. Meanwhile, Ursula von der Leyen assures that the EU will safeguard its interests following Trump's announcement of significant car tariffs. Additionally, Trump suggests a potential tariff reduction if China consents to a TikTok agreement. Flight reservations between Canada and the U.S. have plummeted by 70% amid the ongoing Trump tariff conflict. Furthermore, Reuters indicates that the U.S. has temporarily halted its financial contributions to the WTO, according to trade sources.
Japan has established a Joint Operations Command to integrate its 3 self-defense force branches, marking a shift towards a more offensive military strategy, as reported by China's PLA Daily. Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is promoting the development of AI-driven suicide drones and early warning aircraft. In the United States, the Space Force is in the process of creating an aircraft carrier designed for space operations. European military forces are developing a strategy spanning 5 to 10 years to potentially replace the United States within NATO. Meanwhile, NATO's Secretary-General, Jens Stoltenberg, emphasizes to both the US and Europe that this is not the time to go it alone. In Brussels, the European Union is urging its citizens to prepare a 72-hour emergency kit to be ready for potential crises. Additionally, Russia's foreign minister has stated that discussions with the United States are underway regarding the possibility of restarting the Nord Stream pipeline, with the aim of exerting influence over Europe.
OpenAI has introduced a new image generator for ChatGPT, which has sparked a celebration of Studio Ghibli's work. Meanwhile, Marvel has announced an expansive cast for the upcoming film Avengers: Doomsday. Additionally, Amazon has secured a deal for LeBron James' podcast titled Mind the Game.
OpenAI anticipates that its revenue will increase threefold, reaching $12.7 billion this year. According to a source, Microsoft has decided to halt its data center projects. As reported by TD Cowen, Bill Gates predicts that within the next decade, artificial intelligence will take over the roles of many doctors and teachers, suggesting that human involvement will not be necessary for most tasks.
Declassified documents from 1994 reveal that global leaders were skeptical about North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-il, and referred to him as goofy. Additionally, a court in Bosnia has issued an international arrest warrant for the Serb leader, Dodik. Meanwhile, Somalia has proposed granting the United States control over its strategically important ports.
In the United States, a significant portion of the national wealth is concentrated among a small group, with just half of the households possessing 97.5% of it. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate among Generation Z has surpassed 4 million, with experts attributing this to the perceived lack of value in college degrees and a system that fails to deliver on its promises, leading to an increase in the number of not in education, employment, or training (NEET) individuals. Additionally, small businesses across the country are facing mounting revenue challenges, with inflation being the primary obstacle they must navigate.
The phenomenon of temperature-dependent hypoxia provides insight into the geographical distribution and intensity of the marine mass extinction that occurred at the end of the Permian period. The removal of waste from the brain has been shown to significantly enhance memory in mice as they age. There is an increasing trend in the number of oral cancer cases, and it is possible that the consumption of sugary beverages is contributing to this rise.
Kristi Noem was seen sporting a $60,000 Rolex Cosmograph Daytona watch during her visit to the notorious El Salvador prison. Additionally, at the El Salvador mega jail, a Trump official advised migrants, "Do not come." The AP reports that U.S. officials made efforts to visit residents in Greenland by going door to door, but they did not find anyone interested in meeting the Vances. Furthermore, Greenland has reportedly agreed to establish a comprehensive government, influenced by pressure from Trump, as stated by local media. Marco Rubio mentioned that the State Department has revoked over 300 student visas.
The UK climate protest group Just Stop Oil has announced that it will cease its direct action activities. In Washington, D.C., vandalizing Teslas is now considered a hate crime. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is seeking to return a penalty that a mortgage lender paid to resolve allegations of racial discrimination.
Robinhood is expanding its horizons beyond meme stocks and aims to become a full-fledged bank. The company is offering Uber Cash to its customers and utilizing artificial intelligence to provide trading advice. Meanwhile, Fidelity is set to introduce a stablecoin as part of its strategy to enhance its digital assets offerings. Additionally, Hong Kong is poised to receive the world's first tokenized money market exchange-traded funds, ETFs, from Basera and Hashkey. In a potential warning sign for Hollywood, younger consumers are increasingly opting for creator content instead of traditional premium TV and movies. Meanwhile, Indians have collectively spent a staggering 1 trillion hours on their phones, significantly boosting the media industry to a value of $29.4 billion. Additionally, the Indian streaming service Jio Hotstar has surpassed 100 million subscribers. In the United States, the average monthly expenditure on video streaming has reached $69, with nearly half of the population feeling that this cost is excessive.
H&M, a major clothing company, plans to employ digital twins created using AI for its models, ensuring that consent is obtained from the models. Meanwhile, OpenAI has reported that its graphics processing units, GPUs, are experiencing overheating issues, prompting the company to restrict the number of image generation requests made through ChatGPT. Additionally, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has highlighted DeepSeek as the new standard for measuring the success of Microsoft's artificial intelligence efforts.
Riek Machar, the leader of the opposition in South Sudan, has been taken into custody, raising concerns about the potential for a resurgence of civil conflict in the nation that is the youngest in the world. His party claims that the arrest of the vice president has brought an end to the peace agreement. Residents of Gaza are calling for the conclusion of Hamas's 18-year governance. Indications suggest that the United States is preparing B-2 Spirit bombers at Diego Garcia. The nominee for the U.S. Air Force position advocates for a comprehensive strategy involving drones to address challenges posed by mainland China.
The Sundance Institute has declared Boulder, Colorado, as the new location for the Sundance Film Festival, starting in 2027. A report indicates that Hollywood has yet to regain the jobs lost during the strikes. George Clooney's production of Good Night and Good Luck has set a new Broadway box office record with a weekly gross of $3.3 million.
Taiwan has successfully conducted its inaugural civil defense exercises as tensions with China continue to rise. According to a report by the South China Morning Post, BlackRock has sold a tower in Shanghai at a significant 34% discount, indicating a strategic retreat from the Chinese property market. Meanwhile, the Trump Organization is considering embarking on multi-billion-dollar ventures in Vietnam, despite the potential challenges posed by tariffs. Tencent and the Guillemot family are considering acquiring Ubisoft, the creator of Assassin's Creed, according to Bloomberg News. Additionally, Ubisoft is set to receive a $1.25 billion bailout from Tencent to facilitate the spin-off of its popular franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege. Meanwhile, Amazon Luna has entered into a multi-year agreement with EA to offer a wide range of games through its cloud gaming platform. In a different development, NVIDIA has introduced a gaming-focused AI chatbot that operates directly on your GPU, eliminating the need for cloud services. Facebook is reverting to its original focus by prioritizing posts from friends and family. Instacart is compensating shoppers for recording videos of store shelves. X has incorporated the Grok AI chatbot into Telegram. OpenAI has decided to implement the same standard used by its competitor, Anthropic, for linking AI models with data. In Australia, Earth AI has successfully identified 6 new mineral prospects containing tungsten, cobalt, and gold, utilizing predictive artificial intelligence technology. Meanwhile, Columbia University has taken the decision to suspend a student who developed an AI tool designed to assist individuals in cheating during coding interviews.
A judge has given the green light for the New York Times to proceed with its copyright lawsuit against OpenAI. Meanwhile, Europol anticipates a decrease in online piracy. Additionally, Dua Lipa has emerged victorious in a copyright dispute concerning melodies from a 1970s disco song. Marjorie Taylor Greene has accused PBS and NPR of indoctrinating children in advance of a congressional hearing, and she has also labeled these organizations as communist, advocating for the cessation of their funding. Additionally, the Anti-Defamation League has closed its primary anti-bias initiative. Furthermore, Trump has issued an executive order directing efforts to eradicate any improper, divisive, or anti-American ideologies from the Smithsonian, its museums, educational and research centers, and the National Zoo, mandating the removal of certain items concerning race and gender. In a related development, a Nature poll revealed that 75% of U.S. scientists surveyed are contemplating leaving their professions.
Following Trump's comeback, a BBC journalist was detained and expelled from Turkey after reporting on protests, while a Turkish court released an AFP journalist who was also detained during the same protests, according to the agency. The co-director of No Other Land claims that the U.S. Academy declined to release a statement supporting Hamdan Balo, stating that they remained silent when the filmmaker, whom they had previously honored, required their support the most.
Netflix has revealed its inaugural live-action adaptation of the beloved Scooby-Doo series. In a related development, FIFA has declared a historic prize pool of $1 billion for the Club World Cup scheduled for 2025. Additionally, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to be the keynote speaker at Mumbai's Waves 2025 summit, as India positions itself as a significant player in the global entertainment industry.
Meghan Markle is reportedly certain that her new business endeavors will propel her to billionaire status. Stephen Curry has collaborated with Michelle Obama to introduce a new sports drink. Lady Gaga has declared her plans for a 2025 Mayhem Ball tour across North America. Politico notes that Trump's supporters are beginning to recognize Pete Hegseth's increasing number of errors. Reason points out that Hegseth's recklessness and dishonesty resemble those of Hillary Clinton. The Wall Street Journal reports that Israeli officials have stated that Israel provided intelligence for an airstrike that was discussed in a Signal chat. The Trump administration labels the Atlantic's article about Signal as a hoax after it removes the war plan's language, while the Atlantic releases screenshots showing the timing and weapons used in the Yemen war plan Signal chat.
Trump is challenging California's prohibition on the mandatory disclosure of students' gender identities to their parents. In West Texas, some measles patients are exhibiting symptoms of vitamin A toxicity, prompting doctors to express worries about the spread of misinformation. Additionally, Nature has reported that the National Institutes of Health (NIH) in the United States plans to reduce funding for COVID-19 research, as indicated by internal documents.
The way for Russia's re-entry into the global banking network. Chinese state banks are expected to see a boost in profits and a reduction in bad loans in 2024, despite a decrease in profit margins. The cryptocurrency sector is on track to experience its most disastrous quarter in terms of hacking incidents, with a staggering $1.6 billion in losses, according to Immunifi.
The University of Michigan has shut down its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion (DEI) office, terminating a significant financial investment in diversity initiatives for U.S. universities to adhere to his directives. Additionally, the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) chair has initiated an investigation into the Walt Disney Company regarding its DEI programs. Furthermore, the U.S. government has mandated that French companies comply with Trump's diversity restrictions.
Crisis presents an opportunity. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni aims to establish Italy as a key link between the United States and Europe, dismissing the notion of having to choose between Donald Trump and European interests. Meanwhile, France sees the European military's actions in Ukraine as a testing ground for a NATO that might emerge after Trump's era. Additionally, Finland's President Sauli Niinistö engaged in a golf game with Trump, during which they talked about the ongoing conflict in Ukraine.
Axios reports that the Trump team is reassuring the public by emphasizing that tax cuts will soon arrive, so there's no need to worry about rising prices. Trump himself has expressed indifference to potential increases in auto prices due to tariffs and is reportedly urging his aides to implement even more significant tariffs as an important deadline approaches. Meanwhile, a CBS News poll indicates that Americans are more concerned about Trump focusing on prices rather than tariffs, although a majority do support his deportation efforts. Additionally, Brazil's President Lula has stated that he intends to engage in negotiations regarding tariffs before considering any retaliatory actions.
SpaceX astronauts are set to attempt cultivating the inaugural mushrooms in space during the forthcoming Fram-2 mission, which will orbit over Earth's poles. Meanwhile, an explorer from Vancouver is reaching out to Trump for approval to extract metals from the Pacific Ocean floor. Additionally, a report indicates that U.S. scientists have experienced a loss of $3 billion in NIH grants since Trump assumed office.
A Chinese scientist who faced exclusion due to his involvement in gene-edited babies is now aiming to make a return. Recent research indicates that the majority of early Europeans possessed dark skin, eyes, and hair until approximately 3,000 years ago. An ancient parasite employed a mechanism similar to that of a Venus flytrap to deposit eggs in its hosts.
J.D. Vance acknowledges that he initially didn't fully understand Trump's motivation for wanting Greenland. However, Vance argues that the United States needs to have control over Greenland to counter the threats posed by China and Russia. He suggests that Greenland should consider making an agreement with the U.S. Meanwhile, Putin dismisses Trump's interest in acquiring Greenland, stating it has no relevance to Russia. Vance also criticizes Denmark for not investing enough in Greenland, as Trump continues to advocate for the U.S. to take over the island. In response to Trump's pressure, Greenland's political parties have formed a wide-ranging coalition government. Trump confidently asserts to NBC News that the U.S. will definitely acquire Greenland, saying, "We'll get Greenland. Yeah, 100%.
Chinese authorities have temporarily suspended the sale of Panama Canal ports. Pentagon official Hegseth has announced that the U.S. military presence in Japan, described as "warrior," is being enhanced to serve as a deterrent against China, emphasizing Japan's crucial role in this strategy. Meanwhile, Greenland's prime minister has stated that the U.S. will not acquire the island. Axios has announced that the White House will now manage the seating arrangement in the briefing room. Additionally, White House correspondents have dismissed a comedian for making offensive remarks about MAGA on the Beast podcast. Meanwhile, Mike Huckabee, whom Trump has chosen as the ambassador to Israel, is attempting to separate himself from his previous statements regarding Palestinians. The Hill has criticized Huckabee, suggesting that his extreme views could lead to chaos in the Middle East.
A supercomputer has revealed the chaotic nature of hypersonic flows at Mach 16. In Beijing, a new X-ray light source has been constructed, boasting a brightness a trillion times greater than the sun. Additionally, a method has been developed to generate power by harnessing Earth's movement through its own magnetic field.
Turkey has detained a Swedish journalist on charges of insulting the president and terrorism. In the United States, private organizations are actively identifying and reporting student protesters, potentially leading to their deportation. Additionally, it has been reported that hundreds of international students received an email instructing them to self-deport due to their involvement in campus activism. In a confidential meeting, Vance and his leading advisors proposed that Trump remove Waltz, but Trump is reportedly reluctant to dismiss Waltz or others implicated in the Signal chat leak, according to officials. Meanwhile, Trump has mentioned he is contemplating options for a third presidential term, although he stated he doesn't wish to discuss it at present, despite numerous people urging him to run. Additionally, Axios has reported that Trump plans to visit Saudi Arabia in May, marking his first international trip, as indicated by sources.
Novo Nordisk's diabetes medication has been shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular issues by 14% over a 4-year period. Additionally, the newest Alzheimer's treatments have the potential to extend patients' years of independence. Furthermore, a study indicates that lifestyle choices have a greater influence on lifespan than genetic factors.
The Academy has issued an apology for not providing sufficient support to the Oscar-winning Palestinian director. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu plans to visit Hungary, despite an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Additionally, Iran has declined to engage in direct nuclear negotiations with former President Trump but remains open to indirect discussions, following Trump's previous warning to Iran that there will be bombing if Tehran rejects U.S. nuclear talks.
The UK regulatory body plans to begin granting licenses to cryptocurrency companies by the year 2026. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has concluded its investigation into Crypto.com without taking any further action. Additionally, a report suggests that Japan is considering reclassifying cryptocurrency as a financial product in an effort to reduce insider trading.
A record-breaking number of 736,000 sandhill cranes have gathered in Nebraska during the peak of spring migration, and there are no indications of bird flu, despite previous worries. In China, researchers are employing laser drones to accurately count the nation's vast population of trees, totaling 142.6 billion. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, rice farmers are demonstrating against what they perceive as misguided regulations that are contributing to rice shortages.
Samsung Electronics has introduced its AI Home concept, featuring enhanced artificial intelligence and improved screens in a variety of new product lines. Meanwhile, Google has ceased manufacturing the Nest Protect and the Nest X Yale lock. Additionally, China's supersonic jet, the C-949, aims to achieve a 50% increase in range compared to the Concorde and produce 95% less noise. Split Fiction secures its spot in gaming history by achieving 3 world records. Korea's Krafton is challenging the 25-year dominance of The Sims. Nintendo is reportedly planning a Zelda movie trilogy, with filming planned for New Zealand.
A significant breach in Oracle Cloud has led to the exposure of over 6 million records, potentially endangering more than 140,000 tenants. Additionally, 1.5 million private photographs from LGBTQ+, BDSM, and sugar dating applications have been compromised. The HTTPS certificate industry has implemented new security measures, including multi-perspective issuance corroboration and linting.
RFK Jr. has compelled Peter Marks, a leading vaccine official, to resign. In his resignation letter, Marks refutes Kennedy's falsehoods. Additionally, RFK Jr. is anticipated to dismiss the entire staff of the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV/AIDS Policy. Meanwhile, there are reports that DOJ is advocating for businesses to manage government services to the greatest extent feasible. STAT has expressed that, noting that the removal of FDA's Peter Marks has alarmed the biopharma industry, which regarded him as a supporter.
The Frick Collection in New York City is set to reopen following a significant renovation costing $330 million. A collection of previously unseen paintings by the renowned kitsch artist Thomas Kincaid has been revealed. The upcoming film Naja 2 is expected to boost global box office projections for 2025 to a total of $34 billion.
China's 4 leading state-owned banks are planning to generate $72 billion through stock sales to enhance their capital reserves. Additionally, Google has reached a settlement of $100 million in a lawsuit concerning advertisers who were overcharged. Meanwhile, the first orbital rocket launched from mainland Europe experienced a crash shortly after it took off. Xpeng predicts that the robotics industry will surpass the automotive sector in size within the next few years. Xpeng is making a significant investment of $413 million in a new factory located in Guangzhou, focusing on the development of flying cars. Meanwhile, SoftBank Group is considering a massive $1 trillion initiative in the United States to establish industrial parks dedicated to AI robots. Additionally, DeepSeek has increased the confidence of wealthy Chinese investors in technology stocks, according to a banker from Standard Chartered.
A letter from the industry warns that more than $13 billion in investments in solar and wind energy projects in Vietnam could be jeopardized. Meanwhile, Japan is planning to allocate an unprecedented $133 billion to enhance its resilience against earthquakes. Additionally, as the global climate warms, changes in cloud patterns are contributing to increased uncertainty about climate conditions.
Authorities in London have detained individuals responsible for organizing a protest related to Gaza at the Quaker House. Meanwhile, Haaretz has published an article discussing the situation in Gaza, where it claims that nearly every unit of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, employs Palestinian individuals as human shields, likening them to a sub-army of forced laborers. Additionally, reports have emerged of the discovery of the bodies of aid workers who were previously missing, found in a mass grave in Gaza following Israeli military operations.
The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, has withdrawn its previous guidance regarding banks and cryptocurrency, indicating that banks are now permitted to participate in cryptocurrency activities without needing prior approval. Additionally, FTX is set to commence $11.4 billion in creditor payouts in May, following a prolonged bankruptcy process. Furthermore, former President Donald Trump has granted pardons to 3 co-founders of the BitMEX cryptocurrency exchange and a former employee. TSMC, Intel, and other leading chip manufacturers are reducing the pace of their expansion efforts in Japan and Malaysia. Meanwhile, the New York Times highlights that India is experiencing a significant hiring surge, which remains unaffected by Trump's tariffs. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal covers a conflict between Apple and Elon.
Trump is taking steps to remove unionization rights for the majority of federal employees. Meanwhile, in the United States, employing federal workers who have been laid off due to DOGE-related budget cuts. Additionally, Elon Musk has stated that Trump will target individuals who are spreading falsehoods about Tesla.
During the Trump administration, businesses are altering the branding of their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives rather than abandoning them. In the United States, the Naval Academy is making moves to eliminate diversity policies related to books and admissions. Meanwhile,
Submarine that was attempting to cross the Atlantic Ocean with a significant amount of cocaine, weighing 6.5 tons. Meanwhile, an Indian court has declared Google's billing policy to be anti-competitive.
Russia and the United States are in discussions regarding projects related to rare earth metals, according to an envoy from Putin. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, expressing frustration with Vladimir Putin, has threatened to impose tariffs on Russian oil if Moscow obstructs a deal concerning Ukraine. Additionally, Trump mentioned that he had a highly productive conversation with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, during which they reached agreements on numerous issues. Pakistan intends to deport 3 million Afghan individuals this year. In the United States, numerous individuals who have been granted parole have received an email from the government advising them to leave the country immediately. A study involving Lyft drivers has uncovered instances of racial profiling by law enforcement officers. A tsunami alert has been declared following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that struck close to Tonga. In Myanmar, a strong earthquake caused damage to over 60 historic pagodas and structures, among them the Maha Mayat Muni Pagoda. Meanwhile, in the United States, severe storms have resulted in tornadoes and hail the size of golf balls, extending from the Great Lakes region to Texas.
The New York Times highlights the increasing violence and viral spread of activities by online individuals who claim to hunt pedophiles. Additionally, the White House is experiencing criticism for using an image inspired by Studio Ghibli, to depict a person convicted of dealing fentanyl. Furthermore, a reward in the form of a meme coin is being offered for information leading to the location of Joe Low,